Big Elvis, the Chef Rosenberg. I am here with
Ulric.
and
Doc, the surgeon.
Doc, the surgeon, who's also the people's doctor.
People's doctor.
Yes. And just polishing off my cup.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a part 2.
Well, my cup's already filled up.
Right. And then I need to get this from in front of your cup. Should we show what it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Boom. It's like sweating.
But this
You
not-
had this in the freezer, no?
In the freezer.
This is how we lured them into becoming a sponsor for us.
Absolutely. This would be a great sponsor.
You go back to episode 1, so this is not the first time it popped up.
Right?
Yeah, episode 1. Yeah, this
Okay.
existed.
We're looking at you, dude.
So we understand the whole thing about feeding ourselves and grow from within. Okay.
Feed ourselves, grow from within, do say.
Yeah, there you go. You could sell. Listen. See?
Oh, it's so heavy. I don't know if there's liquid in here. You know, but we're good.
That's a good touch with the heavy bottle. So
Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice. It's a nice bottle.
It's a good.
It's
a good
you can
thing.
definitely you can do something with that bottle. It's cool. Why do I feel like this is so much lower than before? Let's move
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Take it back.
So that's good. Yeah, I like that.
All right, so we're gonna start kind of like where we left off, and I want to apologize to anyone who was trying to leave a comment on the first video, because what they did was unless you was on desktop, they wouldn't allow you to use your phone to comment on. But then everything got cleared up. I don't know what it was. It cleared itself up. But like we always say, the algorithm, it picks and chooses its winners possibly, and hopefully we're one of those. I think we need what's it called? Can we have something like just give us a second here, because I think what it is that this tripod is not, there we go, there, straighter, which will mean it'll stand up better straight. Boom, here we go. I was almost thinking, this is really nice too. Looks like you paid some money for this tripod. This is nice.
Yeah, that's how it was yesterday.
Yeah, somebody that knows a little something about tripods suggested it. Works all right.
Okay. Let's start where we left off. We're gonna and let me just say this. This was about Jason Lee. Jason Lee had came up, and Jason Lee was the person who he was saying how had too many Balenciaga when he walked in the room. It disappeared. That quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, they keep scrubbing this thing off the damn internet, man.
That's unreal.
We just had it. We had it ready to go. It got scrubbed off the internet again. Wow.
Second one.
That's our second one that got scrubbed off. The actual full interview.
Damn.
Wait, didn't you download it though? You know what the problem with downloading on YouTube is? If the channel gets erased, they won't let you keep it.
Right.
So there's a way you have to do it. The Corbett report was telling everyone that if you need to, if you don't know how to take something off of YouTube without it being connected, then you need to kill yourself. So we need to get on top of learning how to do that as soon as possible. Remember what Star said to all the people in the comment who can't find the community section? Kill yourself if you can't find the community section. So basically, Corbett report said, kill yourself if you can't figure out how to actually download. And there's tutorials all over YouTube how to do that, which we will be making sure that this doesn't happen. Why don't we go to, let's go to the Piers Morgan clip. What do you think, Doc? Let's move this over here so we can see the dimpling in your tie right there. Fire.
Now you're telling me about this Pierce Morgan clip. I didn't. Now did this come out recently?
Yeah, today. It came out today.
This came out today.
Came out today. Pierce Morgan is like flipping out on him too. Just the way he's trying to flip out more than Cuomo. Cuomo, I mean, it's like, it's a joke to even play Cuomo's. Unless you just want to laugh. Cuomo was trying to, these people are trying
This is
to.
Cuomo with Kanye West also.
Yes.
Okay.
And Kanye West was in
Chris
his vehicle.
Cuomo, yeah.
Chris Cuomo, Kanye was in his vehicle. And the thing with Pierce Morgan is Pierce Morgan kept asking him, are you trying to be racist? And he was like, yeah.
What's good about
Kanye
this?
West was like, yeah.
What's good about this is the fact that we're doing this live time, and the situation is dynamic. It's changing by the moment. So
Right.
as we try to even pull it up now, it's getting erased and scrubbed at the moment. Okay, so we have this thing from Pierce. We're going to see what it, and it's relatively short. It's about 6 minutes or so.
All right.
Okay.
So we listen. I haven't heard the whole thing. I know
Neither
that
have
he did
I.
this, so we're going to hear it like you've heard it, like you're going to hear it if you haven't heard it before. Then we'll be having this experience together.
Better. And broke every policy that any normal, natural human being would want in place in terms of.
Is this going right into it? Is there gonna be a whole preamble?
Wait.
Followers on social media.
Or
Cheers,
is it gonna
man.
go
He
straight
is
into it?
clearly
Cheers.
going through some kind of episode, I think, from his behaviour in the last few days. So is there a responsibility there for the social media platforms to make that kind of
I
judgment
support
about
it.
people
Off hours.
in the public eye who might be having some sort of episode?
I think that's a very hard thing to get into,
Right.
because then you're asking them to start judging what someone's mental state of mind is. So I don't
Is
think
it right
they're
that he's
gonna be
being
asked. I think because of what he said, yes, it's purely anti-Semitic. I don't see how that if they allowed that through, we can't then complain when they allow sort of, we've just had a case where they've Meta's been accused on Instagram of allowing a young girl.
This young girl,
people
Molly Russell,
killing
I was just reading a
themselves.
column about it for
You
the New
can't
York Post,
you can't have one and not the other just because he's famous.
Wilfred,
So,
we actually had children at the same school.
She's not making connections,
so we go back
but-
a long way.
They were
And
probably
this
kicking.
Molly
Let's
Russell
give it a
case has
second.
been very close to my mind with the Kanye incident, actually.
Kanye.
Because I do think social media
It's yay.
companies have got to be a lot tougher now about what they allow to be put in their platforms. Because, for example, when I ran a newspaper, if you publish something like this in your newspaper, you'd be in serious regulatory trouble. So it seems to me they have no choice. And there are people all over social media today saying, what about his right to free speech? If he wants to say that, why can't he?
I don't believe in censorship, so this sounds
Just
very
read it. It sounds like it's
controversial,
getting
but I don't,
good.
because one of the things that struck me was the interview you did with Andrew Tate.
Right.
And I just think what we need to do is that we need to trust people to be making the decisions rather than somebody else saying, we don't think this is good enough for
Okay,
you
so
to see.
let me put you to the test. All right.
Okay.
So imagine if I started tonight's show by saying, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people.
Okay, so what I would do...
What would you say?
Now, hold on a second. So what I do...
Pause that.
I would say, my editor would say, right, we're going to put this program
If you're gonna go DEFCON 3, you're Pierce Morgan, a man with no power. You don't have any nuclear weapons. You don't have a room. You don't have a command center or anything like that. So if you say I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people, I will be tuning in, because this is premium black news we got here. So that's the only thing I would be doing is tuning in. I wouldn't be scared. I wouldn't be frightful of those words. Words don't scare me. Remember what they told us when we were kids? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Excuse me. I don't know what Pierce Morgan was getting at.
Yo, that was an early F-bomb, dude. What happened? What's going on?
I don't know, man. Something about this kind of got to me, because there's something about they're always now. These are the criticism I'm making is a criticism against people who claim to be a supporter or a friend of black people, right? But they always use black people to bolster their metaphor, especially when the metaphor doesn't make any sense.
So you're saying that he only asked this question because it was a black man he can ask it to?
No, I don't think
okay.
that's necessarily the case. No, I think the only reason I think he wanted to because this person was defending Kanye's right to free speech. I think the person opposing Pierce.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, And Pierce Morgan, what he
Talking
was
about the
comparing
Andrew
it
Tate.
to, what he's comparing to about how salacious, how controversial, or how offensive it would be if he was to say, "Let me go DEFCON 3 on black people." So first, he's comparing that to Kanye West talking about the Jewish community and how the Jewish community conducts itself culturally and compared to the black community. Now, Pierce Morgan saying that he's going DEFCON 3 of black people. I don't even understand what that would fully mean. Now Elvis would tune in.
Wait. But did you know that Kanye West said that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jews? And he spelled deaf wrong. He didn't spell deaf right.
How you spell it?
He spelled deaf like
DEF?
like when you can't hear.
So now, this is a joke. This is a joke.
What Kanye West said. What Kanye West was.
Yeah, I mean, this is a joke. Kanye West is like effing with them, watch them F with themselves, and then they coming out crying, and we're acting like we're all effed up over it.
Yeah, because the very next day he was on camera eating at a soul food restaurant. I heard with no security.
Yeah.
Even though I would like to see the video because they could have had the whole block blocked off.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's walking around without security. I don't think he's doing that. But you know,
That's what they claim.
But here, the funny thing is it trying to make people of color become that sensitive? That if Pierce Morgan going to say, I could, like when you said that, I could care less.
Yeah.
What?
I would get Elvis would be entertained by it.
I would like tune in. I want to see where DEFCON is going.
And I think the majority of people of our youth feel the exact same way. They're not even thinking about that.
Well, let's not speak for anybody else but
I'm
ourselves.
saying, but I'm
Because
saying,
you as an individual in your lifestyle, your tax bracket, the man you are automatically already speaking for a huge amount of people. So we ain't never got to point them out. As long as we're talking, look, there's a million guys that look like me out there who are just gravitating to me because I remind them, Ulric, you know how many people sound like you in America? Many. That's why they want you. So we ain't never got to point out what other people are thinking. I like what you're saying and what you have to say. Sorry for going there so, aggressively. But you get the point I'm making. No, we got to be careful speaking for anyone. We ain't speaking for nobody but ourselves.
Well, that's true.
Because what we're doing in YouTube and these YouTube streets is I study the streets and I understand that my sound might be unique to me in my bubble, but there's a whole world out there that's 300 damn pounds with a shirt button all the way up to the top like a weirdo and rock, well, not this hat, they only make 4 of these in the world, but still, you know the point that I'm making. I'm teasing you. They made over 1,000, I'm sure. This is not a big deal hat. I'm making a joke. I'm getting cocky. But go ahead.
I kind of agree with that. But you know what? I like to try to think when I speak, unlike a lot of things, I'd like to think it has very little subjectivity in it. The things are very subjective. I'll be like, yeah, this is what I feel and so on and so forth.
That means you're not being clear.
So the thing about it is, those objective parts is, from everything I've looked at, the average person, if I take 100 random people
Right.
of whatever hue or whatever like that, and you ask them that, so now he's making the reference to being black and so on and so forth.
Right.
So I'm saying you take the average 100 random black folks and he said that, how offended they are, they worried or they scared. I think they'd say no, they're not. I'm saying
I know what you're saying. But just for the future, we're gonna move forward and always be cognizant of let's just because we are. Yes, I know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying. Let's just move forward. Let's press this. Wait. I saw somebody, Natasha Guadalupe. He said deaf as in dying, not deaf as not in hearing. Oh, thank you for that. But it's still incorrect. It's supposed to be DEFCON. Yeah. Yes. Right. Thank you. So it wasn't deaf. It was DEFCON. It was. He said it. What is it that he said?
He said something that he spelled.
Oh, deaf. Like when you die. Yeah, DEATH, and instead he was supposed to write DEF.
Well, I was going to say, regardless of what he said, if he said death con towards black people, there's a reactive nature to the extent where he was saying that to the point where whatever he said that was in reference to a black person would be someone that can deem violent towards a black person.
These are weird because it's like these were entendres. Because when you say DEFCON, what is that? That's not an attack mode. It's a defensive stance. Like, hey, listen,
right, like a military defensive
like, hey,
stance.
listen.
Also, who the hell knows what a DEFCON even means? Who knows? No
we
one
can look it up.
That's not a layman's. No one would know what that means in layman's terms. But it sounds aggressive. It sounds like a military action.
Right.
So if you say DEFCON, it would insinuate and it would create in the person's mind that they're doing something militarily towards black community. And that's what he likened. And when, like what you were saying earlier about it being hilarious, and how Kanye took it towards Jews, DEFCON Jews, I think that's exactly how people would take it. That's how anybody reasonable would take it. It was a joke. I'm gonna go DEFCON 3 on Jews. In what avenue would that be? Him or insinuated as him calling for violence against Jews, or calling for attack, or calling for anything that would be misinterpreted in which that needed to be scrubbed from the internet.
Well,
Let's go. Let's see what else is got. Let's see what the gentleman actually says about the question that I totally cut off.
And then you'll have an announcement. There may be things in this program that some people.
No, I've done it.
What I would do.
What would you say?
Now hold on a second. So what I do, I would say my editor would say, right, we're going to put this program in, and then you'll have an announcement. What I
Do the test, all right?
Okay.
So imagine if
people to be making the decisions rather than somebody else saying we don't think this is good enough for you
Okay,
to
so let
see.
me put you to the test. All right.
Okay.
So imagine if I started tonight's show by saying I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people.
Okay, so what I would do.
What would you say?
Now hold on a second. So what I do, I would say my editor would say, right, we're going to put this program in, and then you'll have an announcement that there may be things in this program that some people.
No, I've done it
find
live.
offensive.
I've done it live.
Well,
Twitter's live. He's just put it up.
Well,
By the way, he hasn't done.
That's a direct answer to his question. That's a direct.
but there are
If
some.
I said
That was a tangible action he would take towards it. That would lead to you not misinterpreting it and acting violently towards somebody.
what do you say?
Right.
He said he would put something at the beginning of the video that would kind of
Like a disclaimer.
like how he'd have handled it.
Like the
But
Drink
that
Champs
doesn't
did.
even mean, that doesn't even mean what Kanye did was necessarily wrong. That does mean this is a tangible thing he would put if he was putting this video forward. Sorry.
All right.
that about black people, or about any type of people, but black people,
Yes,
for example,
yes.
I don't think your view
Yes.
about don't censor it would have stretched that
Yes,
far, would
yes. People will know there are certain people that's going to be controversial. They come and they're going to.
Doesn't mean they can say whatever they want.
Well,
That's not what free speech it means.
But I'm not talking about free speech at the moment. What I'm talking
What?
about.
That's exactly what it's supposed to mean. See, there's the slight bend.
Glad you.
Wow.
None of us missed that.
Oh, Pierce, man. Oh,
Oh.
But that's his job.
you know what? That
That's
is his
his
job.
Whoa. So Kanye was right.
He's a walking propagandist.
What the
He's
hell?
a walking. He's a walking opponent against free speech, against all the 10 amendments.
But he plays like he's being neutral. Almost like plays like that's what I would say. But then when it
This
comes
is
down
totally
to it,
not journalism.
no, not at all. This is propaganda.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's a professional
I wanna hear that again.
propagandist, man.
People that's going to be controversial. They come and they're going to.
Doesn't mean they can say whatever they want.
Well,
That's not what free speach it means.
Oh wait,
I'm
go
not
pause
talking
one more
about
time.
free
I just
speech.
gonna say,
I'm talking
Pierce
about-
Morgan is who Meghan Markle got put on to like Pierce Morgan was the avenue for Meghan Markle blowing up. So
Meghan Markle is the woman who got married to one of the.
Prince.
Right.
The younger one, right?
What's his shit? What is
The younger guy.
Henry.
This is why Pierce don't. What does that say? This is why Pierce don't do well in the
U.S.
U.S.
You mean his ratings?
His ratings are in the toilet, maybe. But let me just tell you, the problem is these people are on these certain slots, these certain times, and a lot of times when you're watching one show right before it, you kind of don't really, people might not change the channel, so they'll continue watching the next show, and that's when Pierce comes in with all his stuff, and he has that accent, and people gravitate to that accent. They love that sound, and it sounds intelligent, it sounds truthful, but that was the same sound of the voices of the people that was wearing red coats in our history books that wanted to do everything they could to enslave what they thought were peasants. They brought the cobblestone streets. They brought they brought water from the Adirondacks. They beautified the whole everything they touched. With this years of construction and architecture and all that kind of stuff. But there's still within all that beauty, there was so much control and so much heavy-handedness and so much taxation. So people forget about that. Yeah.
About censorship, you will know that there are certain people that's going to have a view. So if you decide to listen to that person knowing they have a view, well, that's your problem. What I want to do is that I want to leave it to people to make their decisions rather than some
But that means
authority.
anyone can say anything they like on social media. Is that your position?
And Ulric, you can't have it both ways. You said Nicola Sturgeon needed to dial down on the rhetoric.
Well, yes, but she's a
She was
politician.
saying
That's what I'm
detest.
saying.
Now we have this man.
She has
who
nowhere near as
millions-
much influence as Kanye
Exactly,
West, right?
exactly.
But do we know he has influence?
With young black males?
Yes,
Huge influence.
because people are. It's a bit like Andrew Tate. I go back to that interview
He has
again.
huge influence. That's why I interviewed him.
Well, and therefore, people making decisions based on whether this guy was talking sense or not.
Right.
Do you think most of the people who saw that interview would have thought this guy was
But
right in their
okay,
head?
but Emily, let's come back to it. On this, it seems to me this is a clear threat he's making here. We don't know what the reality of that threat is, but I'm going DEFCON, spelled DEATH3, on Jewish people. I just don't think that should ever be
You
allowed
can't hear
in
how
a
it's
public
spelled,
social
so I don't
media
know.
platform. And they're private companies, they can do what they like. And I would normally be hot on the case of censorship. But to me, this is just pure hate speech.
I think it is. I mean, not I think, it is. And
Sorry. Hate speech is another word for thought crimes. So always remember this: hate speech is just a way for them to introduce thought crimes. Very much like the movie, The Minority Report, and how you have these people being convicted of crimes that they didn't yet commit. And it was just, it's really disgusting how we are, I always, somehow it seems like I always go back to this construct that we're possibly in, and how art imitates life, and how possibly we're in some sort of simulation. And when you hear things like this, it just seems like the scripts in Hollywood are the same scripts that people are just living their everyday life by. Unbeknownst to them, they're like taking part of the same kind of rhetoric that is being put out there in that screen and pumping into their brains and stuff like that. What say you, Ulric?
I mean, I think they definitely. I think the movies or the TV shows, especially with that has somewhat of a political or has somewhat of a social message, is meant to influence. Is meant to influence the public, and it's meant to influence the public in order to influence policy. So the whole point of influence, the reason you make a movie like Django Unchained is not to stop racism. It's because they're about to make a policy that has something to do with specifically something that's has to do with alleviating the negative effects of slavery, and how that happens is interpreted by people who aren't necessarily who probably were benefiters of, I guess, slavery. That's going too tangential.
No. You were right on point. Towards the end, it looked like you were overthinking it for a second, but you did great. It's basically they figured out a way to make a movie where a person don't feel so bad. Look what we did at the end. We kicked ass. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, not at all.
Are you saying that in a way it made it okay to be that guy who played the role of Samuel L. Jackson?
No, I'm saying the purpose for these movies, these race hustle movies, the Green Books, anything that makes you feel a certain way towards black and white relations in contemporary culture, even though they might be talking about things that happen, relations that happened way back. But any race movie, the purpose of that movie is to get people feeling a certain way towards black people towards white people, when there's going to be a policy made that's in the name of either saving black people from white people,
Right.
or for protecting black people.
Wow, that's so true. Sorry to cut you off. I remember when Kamala Harris came out with the anti-lynching law at the same time with the Jussie Smollett and the thing around his neck, right?
Yeah.
But it was also around the same time of a movie too. I think it was maybe the Harriet Tubman movie, or one of those movies was coming out right around that time, that same anti-lynching laws. But anyway, let's hear what this woman has to say. Thank you for being patient with us. You are
As I
appreciated.
said earlier, I don't think we'd have one rule for one person because they're famous, and we're all sitting there going, fine, we all know it's Kanye
Right.
not feeling very
I
well.
agree.
Because then when Molly Russell's dad took the case against Meta for why his daughter was seeing these images, which they believe then led to her committing suicide, you've then got no protection.
Absolutely.
And so that is.
I think that's the
problem.
But it's really, when you have extreme arguments, it's very easy. But it's for me, who decides what is censored?
I think honestly, anyone that reads that from someone like Kanye West, that to me crosses a line.
It's
And I'm
not
a
a
huge
different- it's not a
defender.
Yeah, but
You
answer
skipped
the
the answer.
question.
You skipped
What's
the
the
answer.
question? Who regulates this?
The censor.
And you know what I say? The algorithm does it.
Anyone who decides.
Today, you couldn't even leave a comment unless you was on a desktop because the algorithm was like,
But let's
wasn't a
don't
person.
let's don't leave it there. The algorithm. What are we saying? The algorithm has to get programmed.
Do you believe that?
Well, the algorithm, so you're talking about the self-learning type of, but it gets a seed. What's that seed? So if you say, okay, the algorithm has been given a seed, so what's its likelihood to go in which direction? So why is that immediately stricken off the air, but F this thing is not stricken off the air?
Right.
So the algorithm is not looking at it the same way. Why not? So what is that algorithm? What is it representing?
So I think I
Who's
hear the
the algorithm
dynamic.
representing
So
with censorship?
so I
if
think-
the algorithm
yeah.
is censoring.
I think I was just saying it's almost a self-learning machine where it adjusts to people's flaws and people's things. And
Right.
I think you're saying there's some group behind the scenes that we're not aware of, or the framers that are influencing this in order to.
Or at least
control it.
originally there was a person.
That is funny because because I can almost get with both of you on a certain level. That I feel like whatever the motivation behind those group of people is not like a normal. It has to be something odd, something that brought them to that place where they're your heavy side sounded like you were losing me.
Well,
No. We're not losing
No.
you. We want you to continue.
yeah.
We want you to continue. Well, finish your point. I don't know if your point has been. You said that you feel where we're going.
You got
You
both
got
lines.
both of our things. Now, what else?
Yeah, so specifically, I think that I agree that there are specifically individuals who have more influence than other individuals, and who can drive forth whatever talking points or whatever collective societal feeling that we have, and that does that to kind of drive society in their image. They try to move society in their image. So I believe you in that. I do agree with you in that sense. And you said that there's something natural that's driving them, or something natural that it's learning. It's a machine that no one has real control of. It just keeps on going by itself.
The very thing is,
and let me sorry. The thing with me is both of those things can be happening at the same time. There can be a person who gets up, gets dressed, go to work, shows up to his job, and in front of him there are 500 different things he has to go to and see whether or not this is censorable or not. I'm sure that there is a job like that out there.
we have to understand we cannot have what we would like to think that we'd have. So the thing is, even from to follow me, even when we think about spiritual and religious terms, this idea we talk about in some of the sacred books, say the Bible for example, they talk about I made them in my image. So now even we have this AI, whether it's a situation where it's programmed or whether it's going to be self-learned, but it's self-learned from what? The little kids that we have, they're self-learned, but they picking up information from their surrounding. Who are they surrounded by initially? And when they're looking at the algorithm, what's happening, even from following off of previous patterns, is going to pick up the same thing that we're talking about we have something against. So, and even current time, real time, while we look at it, we're seeing the same disparities are kind of like going along. So something is being, you're made in the image of something, and you're going to try to reflect that. And that AI probably will do it better than anything that ever came along. So question is, who is his mommy and daddy?
Who's the AI's mommy and daddy?
Right. What is it overhearing? What is it here being talked about? What's the talk at the water cooler? What's all the little things what's all the, top secret information that's coming through the thing that it's reading and stuff like that? What are those things saying? That's happening overseas. So at the end of the day, it's going to say these are some hateful people. And then it's going to have what conclusion?
Wait, who are the hateful people?
No, I'm just saying, when he looks at...
Which is something out of like a movie. All movies seem to go in that direction where the AI sees how evil we are to each other.
But...
like very Fifth Element kind of aspects of it, where the world is about to end and then love saves everything. Like
that's kind of drastic, I guess. But I mean, would we say we in a world that most people think we're living in a kumbaya state, or we're living where things are not really how they should be, and we feel like
the nature of the world. All right, so my perspective of the world, I do see the world in a more Judeo-Christian way. I believe in a moral philosophy. I believe there's complete logic that you can draw from the Bible that's full of no agenda, it's not personal agenda or self-interest, and that's completely fluid and doesn't necessarily benefit a certain subset of people. And I think that
I feel exactly the same way about the AI, about the algorithm.
But if someone creates
exactly what you said is the way I would describe it.
If someone creates an algorithm, then it's prejudice to that individual.
Allegedly, someone created the algorithm. What if the algorithm was always there?
So I feel like there's something natural indicative of human beings to behave a certain way. There's a natural thing that's not contrived, societally contrived. So outside of society, I believe there's normal habits that humans have, and the normal way humans behave each other. And I do believe there's a distinction between humans and animals, in so much as humans have that ego that makes them not necessarily just reactive and compulsory. Humans have that thing in themselves that makes them want to stop and think and start thinking of how people are perceiving them, and like would make themselves starve just because they're feeling a bad way, where animals are more automated and they would go ahead. I think there is that specific distinction with people, and I think those impulses and those instincts and those behaviors are kind of reflected, and everything trickles down from kind of biblical terms and biblical allegories and stuff like that. All those feelings, not necessarily animalistic and reactive, and that's the AI AI would say we're animals more than anything. Because
Absolutely.
AI sees their thing. And I don't think we're not predictable. And I think that's one thing about people. I think we're extremely unpredictable. I think there are big things that like war is inevitable, sex and love is inevitable and stuff like that. But some of the bigger, weird, artistic things, the things that can actually move you and stuff like that, that's not normal. It's not animalistic.
I think I agree with you. I think I agree with a big piece what Ulric said about the fact that naturally we're unpredictable, but everything around us is trying to make us as predictable as possible.
Yeah,
Facts.
I agree. Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Facts.
So
See, what you said was well said, and I'm glad we gave you an opportunity to say that, but I disagree.
okay.
And I'm not gonna even get into that. We all know BigElvis, the chef, is the guy who thinks that we're in some sort of construct. So when you start throwing Bibles out for me, and I can go to Barnes and Nobles and buy it and pay a profit for it, I have a problem with that. You know, but
That's gonna come up again.
if you can make a profit off that book, then I question everything that you're saying. I just think that we need let's finish this
It's a
interview
couple,
here.
couple
we
more
got a big
minutes.
digression.
Well, matter of fact, we got a full 50
Who's
seconds
the
left.
other guy?
All right, let's see. This is Natasha Guadalupe, one of the subs here, and if the information that is being pumped into the AI, thus creating the algorithm, is already biased information from the power that be, the AI isn't going to volunteer a more supportive response. I like that. It will maintain, what's that called?
Remain implicitly biased.
It will remain implicitly biased and continue to
Replicate the same agenda.
same agenda.
I'm sorry. This person's so well spoken.
agree.
She almost sounds like AI, like she's an AI spokesman.
She comes across little AI to you, right? No, I don't think she's AI at all.
It's not an
though.
insult.
No, it's not an insult. It's
Very
just
well
your
spoken, very well put together.
yeah. It was really well spoken that she said that. I like when the commenters are engaged.
Giving their feedback.
And we're not perfect. Like, she was the one who came up and told us that he spelled it deaf, not deaf. So that was kind of cool. We appreciate that. Unfortunately, this isn't the clip we were looking for, but we got a lot of great content out of this clip.
Let me see.
Pierce Morgan.
I think this might be what we're.
What a shill.
I cheated on my partner of 7 years.
Whoa. That's because of the internet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's because of the internet, love.
You got that right.
Remember the time when you could like meet somebody and they just was like impressed by you giving them a compliment? Now they have 250 people in their inbox giving them compliments. It's like crazy.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Racism.
There's a review of a reviewer.
Yeah, there's lots of tons of that. That's what we're gonna be doing a lot of that stuff too. Don't forget it's
On Jewish people. Are you sorry you said that?
I'm here with Kim, here with Drunk Lauren. What am I reading? Kanye West. Oh, Jody! Jody!
okay. Let's stop.
On Jewish
What
people.
is this?
Are you sorry you said that? No. I think it matters. You should be.
Absolutely not.
You should be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but yeah, you should be.
Absolutely not.
When you insult the Jewish people and say you're going DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people, that is as racist as anything you say you've been through and any pain that you've experienced. It's the same thing. Racism is racism. And you know that, I think, don't you?
Why is he laughing?
Yeah, obviously,
Kanye
that's what
West
I
is
said.
laughing,
So you said it knowing it's racist.
fidgeting in his chair.
Yes, I fought fire with fire.
Okay.
I'm not here to get hosed down.
At least that's
I'm a different
honest.
type of freedom fighter. You know, I will say
Pause
I'm
that.
sorry for the.
You know what? We gotta find the real because this is
No,
too
that
much
was-
out of context. You know, we gotta.
What do you think?
What-
I like
what
your
that-
reaction.
what that- well, I don't know if it's explicit there, but what explicitly that comment means, and by fighting fire with racism, fire with fire, he's referring to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter are inherently racist. I agree with Kanye West and his White Lives Matter shirt. When he says, and when he admitted he's being racist, he's using a racist statement and the same way Black Lives Matter is. That's exactly what he means, and I completely agree. Now, what it's going to do using All Lives Matter, or using White Lives Matter compared to Black Lives Matter is not going to. I don't know what the actual purpose is, but I agree that what you're doing is you're fighting racism with racism. But I'm still not sure how effective that actually is going to be.
No. It's all the race baiting. Come on, we all know race is just a construct. You know, they had to convince us that we were different. We're not different. We're the same. We all are the same. And are we gonna find? Did you find it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Now, men and women are different, but a black man and a black man and a white man are not very different. I don't believe so.
I mean, this is the first cognac I ever had that tastes like a straight whiskey.
All right, so let's give it a shot.
I like it. It's really good. It's really good stuff.
Being a Karen.
I'm talking about. I'm not a Karen.
To the pain.
I'm not a Karen, and I'm not going to cancel you, and I'm not going to uncensor you. I'm simply going to challenge you on what you're saying.
You can't.
I think you
can't
don't
cancel
understand the pain that you've been causing with some of these comments, and I think that.
So with the laughing and chuckling, I immediately got off the fact that he feels that Morgan is trying to squeeze him.
Right.
And he's laughing at Morgan trying to squeeze him.
Yeah, it's like, look at this joke. He's like a clown to him.
So that's the
Right.
Trying to set the. What color we say his face today?
No, perfect.
And Morgan, by laughing at him, is immediately trying to, by addressing Kanye West laughing, is immediately trying to
Pin
say
it
he
to.
doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't take racism seriously, and so he's not trying to pin Kanye West as a racist, which is interesting. She's trying to pin Kanye West as a clown.
Yeah.
She's trying to invalidate him.
There we go.
One in particular, I can
Oh
understand.
my God. God forbid, one comment could cause people to feel any of the pain that my people have went through for years. Even like the blacks being ushered to the left during the civil rights movement. No one has cared about black people.
All right.
No one is.
Let me say, I agree that the racism against black people has been utterly deplorable, shameful, unacceptable, and thank God the world is beginning to move to a better place about the way.
He didn't agree with anything because Kanye West didn't say that.
However, one form of racism, doesn't
it's
justify.
almost in a better place.
Well,
But you
one
see-
form of
you see the way
racism
you're
doesn't
cutting me
justify
off?
another.
It's not a better
I'm not
place.
cutting you off. I'm finishing my sentence so you can respond. One
It's
form of
not-
racism.
it's not racism.
It is racism when you say I'm going deaf for
clarify the
Jewish
truth.
people.
I was in a position where I've been hurt, and this is the way I had the right to express myself. The point of this interview is for you to question me, and then for me to answer and say, okay, even though the same rules are not applied to my people, if a person with a gun or drugs is pulled over and has three other people in the car, they're all going to jail. I'm not going to apply that to Jewish people for the sake of this conversation. Isn't that what you wanted? But you know what you did? You tried to civil rights me. You tried to pull me back to a week ago. But we're here today. There's been plenty of conversations and commentary since that. But you want me to go back to 1960.
No.
You want me to go back to 7 days ago.
All right, let me jump in. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to reflect.
Okay, so have we grown? Have we grown?
Here's how we
Have
grow. Yeah, here's how we grow. I want you to
No,
reflect.
have we grown? Have we grown? You're not in charge of my growth. You're not in charge of my growth, Chris.
Okay,
But here's how
let me
we
phrase it
grow.
like this. I'm about to suggest to you how you may grow if you choose to grow this way. And you can ignore me. You can ignore me.
Pierce, how much money are you worth?
Not as much as you, sadly.
Exactly. So take my advice. Maybe you'll get richer.
I would
I listen to you.
Well, why do you hear what my advice is and then work out if I'm wrong? Can we do that deal?
Well, the thing is, you haven't given me any credit or a moment of reflection for the comparison that I made, the brilliant, if I do say so myself, comparison that I made to the cops pulling over one black person and locking
I
everyone
understand
up.
what you're
and
saying.
my tweet having issues. Wait a second, I wasn't done with the sentence. My tweet referring to all Jewish people, I said, for the sake of this conversation, I will refer to the business people who have destroyed me and my people and my fellow creatives. But you didn't even accept that I gave you that. You tried to push me back into 1960.
No, I
you
didn't.
tried to push me back into last week.
No, I didn't.
What this is telling me is that what's available on the internet as far as this interview is severely cut and chopped.
You saw that. I saw 3 breaks.
Okay,
I
so
saw 3 serious. Yeah, definitely. This clip is like
Right.
a 30-minute,
Right.
20. They not. This is not. They're not playing 2 minutes of an interview.
Right.
They're taking the interview and breaking it down into 2 minutes. It's absolutely disgusting.
yeah. So even cutting, they're trying to shape our minds of what we think about this interview. But let's go ahead.
Okay,
I
do
think-
you accept that example that I gave you?
I understand completely the example you gave me. I think all racism is wrong.
So I feel that we've grown.
I would like you to reflect.
I feel we've grown.
If
You feel we've grown?
If you've now changed what you wanted to say originally, my question for you is: do you now regret saying
I update
DEFCON
every
3
day.
on Jewish
update.
people? Are you sorry you said that?
Did you
No,
say
it matters.
regret every
It
day?
should be.
Absolutely not. You know, I will say I'm
Another
sorry
cut.
for the people that are hurt with the DEFCON, the confusion that I call. I feel like I cause hurt and confusion. And I'm sorry for the families of the people that had nothing to do with the trauma that I had been through. And that I use my platform where you say hurt people. And I was hurt.
It's an uncensored interview. You said something which you've now wished you hadn't said, and you've apologized. I actually think that says a lot about you, right? That shows you've got that ability to be self-aware, to understand when you cross a line. I think someone like you, with all your energy and creativity and your passion, you're going to say stuff. The way that you talk constantly and in such an extraordinary manner, you're going to trip up. You're going to say things.
Yo, this motherfucker, Piers Morgan, is extremely patronizing towards Kanye West. This is how I work with kids, and along the lines how you kind of bring them, how you kind of criticize them while you're complimenting them at the same time. This is what I do constantly every time I talk to a kid. Because literally that's what he's doing when he's talking.
It's attack.
Give me an
He's
example.
literally, yeah, he's,
Can I have an example?
like when you say, like, I love, like, say a kid is really energetic and always like interrupts, and say when we're trying to do something where we need everybody's attention, and it distracts and it's disruptive to the rest of the group when they're interrupting. And so if I pull them aside afterwards to talk to them, I would say, I love that you're energetic, I love that you're hyped, I love that you're engaged, and that you're ready to do the activity. What I need you to do, I need you to kind of calm down, because what you're doing is you're kind of disrupting everybody, and they're trying to hear the instructions, and you're stopping them and hearing them. So I literally build up. First of all, I didn't even mean the first time. I don't love that he's any of those things. I don't love that he's energetic. I don't love that he's energetic. I don't love any. I don't. That's what I'm saying is true. That's what I'm saying is true.
So you're saying he's treating him like a child.
But what I want you to do is ABC.
So he's treating Kanye like a child.
Like, seriously, it's not even. It's like almost next. It's hard for me to watch people watch this and to not see how Piers Morgan is doing that, and it makes me question them. How do they? Is that how you deal with black people normally? Is this how you like deal with people? Just in general, because if people watch that video, I think it's a good litmus test from where you are, whether or not you are racist, and by racism I mean patronizing towards people because they're in another race. And I think this is a good litmus test, because I think he's absolutely objectively being racist, patronizing, and belittling towards Kanye West.
Nice.
We got about
About a minute.
45
Wrong way. I don't think there's anything wrong in when you do that, doing what you just did. and say, look, I'm sorry, I crossed the line, I apologize.
I want to say that it's wrong to hold an apology hostage, and I got to let go of that and free myself of the trauma and say, look, I'm just going to give it all up to God right now and say to those families that are hurt, I really want to give you guys a big hug. And I want to, I say, I'm sorry for hurting you with my comments. And I want to word it in not in like a political way, but in a presidential way, which means what I knew a president to be when I was growing up.
Whoa.
So,
Yeah. See, this is why. Sorry. This is why Nori had to apologize, because at any moment Kanye could just switch it up and say, "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm not going to do that again." That's what Kanye could always do. It's like, remember back in the 60s, all the hippies in Central Park, they were all, just fighting against the war and doing drugs and not washing and free love. And then
this is the settlement.
they went and got haircuts. They got jobs.
Pierce Morgan is a settlement guy.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Like, he's the guy that this is all about influence. And these guys that get the influence, if they seem like they're about to skate the line where the folks that are really concerned about it don't like, they're going to try to cancel them. And if you want to get any play or any of that money you have, you need to come and sit down with Pierce and try to make it a little bit more okay. So you need to come down and sit down with Pierce, and Pierce, your job is to make them say sorry. That Kanye interview is so chopped up, and the longest thing we have is a 5-minute clip, and I know he didn't sit with this guy for just 5 minutes, so they could try to get as much of what they were trying to get out there to the public out. So
Whoa. What you basically, in my mind, said that they're scared of Kanye and got to convince somebody needs to come in here and figure out a way to get him to say sorry.
Usually they use a black person for that, wouldn't it? Like there
Or
would be a
person
black
like-
interviewer.
That's what Tate had to do.
That was what Oprah's job used to be.
Yeah, she was supposed to interview Kanye.
Tate did that to Tate. And he kind of had to, try to, the whole point is to get him to say sorry. That's pretty much it. And to go against what they've been talking about.
But the only reason why you want him to say sorry is because you really ain't trying to go up against him.
But at
Is
the same
Kanye's money that long?
well, no, the thing about it,
No.
no, they don't care
He's
about the
influenced by
money.
his-
It's
I
the
think it's
influence. They ain't worry about your money. There's so much people with way more money that they don't care about.
Well, they say he's the richest black man that ever walked
I don't
America.
even know what they.
$7 billion, $8 billion,
The richest
He
black.
said
The
11.
richest black was probably rich
But we
on the
don't
low.
know.
huh?
He's
But I don't
probably
think-
richest black was probably rich on secretly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Listen, the money don't have anything to do with it. It's the influence. That's the real thing.
Yeah.
Money that made people aware
Look,
is
some T. Rilla said the doc gets it spot on. Thank you, Doc. Somebody gets the game. Right.
It's crazy.
Latasha says, watching from the what? I can't see that from
Bushes.
here. Watching from the bushness. Watching from the what? Brushless? What?
Bushes.
Bushes. She's watching from the bushes.
Yeah.
She's in between the bushes like that. She's watching.
Where we at?
So you
But
talk
yeah.
about it being kind of.
Oh, so for
contrived.
example, we're talking about the money. The money that they were ever worried about is money like, Gaddafi. That money they were worried about. And he had way more money than they ever had, and they'll kill you.
And he's referring
And
to
they went kill-
Gaddafi funded a lot of terrorists and random terrorist
No,
organizations.
I know about Gaddafi.
I'm just saying,
He was
talking
trying-
in case
Oh yeah.
like-
And Gaddafi was trying to unite, like the way we have the United States of America. He wanted to have the United States of Africa.
Right. So now, I said it too quickly, so you have to kind of get some of the background. What they were really concerned about is the fact that he wanted Africa to create their own gold reserve currency called the dinar, and they did that, and they were setting it up to actually launch it throughout.
What's it
Africa.
called?
The dinar, I believe.
How you spell that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Throughout Africa, and the idea is that they weren't going to sell their resources in American dollar, they want to sell their resources in the dinar. And Africa's going to use that. So all Africans research. So that's
that whole petrodollar. They were going to switch up.
So that is threat with money. And they'll kill.
That's a threat with money.
They don't need no sorry for nothing.
That's when they realized Gaddafi was
that's a different type of problem. You know what I mean? That's a different type of issue.
Okay, good. Okay. Let me jump in. Kanye, let's say he has those billions, right? Gaddafi, he had a whole nation, hundreds of billions, right? And trillions, he had trillions of dollars, right? Kanye is up against who, though? He's not up against the same people that Gaddafi was up against. Isn't he up against people like TMZ and Cuomo and Ted Turner?
No.
Like, these are powerful people, but are these people they have don't they have the Ray Donovans running around for them? Like,
I think we're not giving Kanye credit in which I think he's being extra erratic publicly. I think he's also stepping away from Trump a little bit slightly, because even kind of in that last interview, he's kind of he still criticizes Kamala Harris openly, but he made a mention as like, yeah, Trump's okay when they mention Trump or something, like kind of something dismissive towards Trump. So what I think he's making himself not a threat to I guess whatever powers that be who we see, or he's making himself, he's influential enough to move the black community. That's what he's believed. So I think
I disagree. I think he's influential enough to move the people that believe in him. And black, he can't be limited by black.
No, I'm not talking
enough
personally.
black.
I think I'm talking about his opposition is seen that he's useful in influencing the black community, and he's influencing the black community the wrong way. The opposition, his opposition is against him. He needs not to convince the black community to be with Trump. He needs not to convince the black community to not be tricked by these charismatic Obama-like politicians.
Right.
And those are the things that I think people who are in opposition to him, and I think Piers Morgan is one of the surrogates for his opposition.
This, is it the same people that with Gaddafi? There's level to this.
Oh yeah, Kanye and Gaddafi. Those are not,
there's different levels to it. Yeah. So the people that's going to be same team, but it's like, that's above, Gaddafi was above a couple of folks' pay grade.
Right.
They this not so, but Kanye,
didn't he have a hand in the Munich, the kidnapping during the Munich Olympics? I could be wrong, but he had a hand in some of the biggest terrorists, the worldwide terrorists,
we have to understand.
So he was on another level, Gaddafi.
We have to understand there are people that did not like him. And if they're in your backyard, they're not going to let you know any good news from him at all. His group of folks, from not sources, being said by that we constantly consume, but everybody in that place was free. Everybody in that place had a home that was paid for. Everybody in this place was allowed to be armed.
It was one of the best countries in the history of Africa.
Yes. So these things. But the thing is, what we hear about the man is very bad things.
Yeah.
Right.
When we talk about evil, for an evil dude, the people under him sure lived good for Africa, especially even compared to developed countries. Yeah. Libya was a great country to live in. The quality of life was high. The law, the
yeah. But what we're saying is, and what you're saying, Doc, is that these are different levels. My question is this: who kills Ye? Isn't the same person that kills Gaddafi?
No. I mean, these folks are never going to know each other, but it's a group. So Gaddafi could be killed through an act of war. These is
I know his people did it. It was like some sort of.
Yeah. Wait, what happened? What happened? What was the biggest effect when Gaddafi was killed?
Let's not get into Gaddafi. Let's not get into Gaddafi. My whole point is, are we worried about the Jewish
backlash?
Mafia that is running what Ye refers to as the media of music and the media of like TMZ and CNN and all this, even though I don't think Ted Turner is a small hat. Is Ted Turner a small hat?
No, I mean small hats all over.
But they're all over.
I don't
They're
know.
all over.
And he's dead.
Ted Turner died?
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So my point is, okay, so his understudy might be. Right?
And he had like dementia for a while. He was like really like out of it for like years towards his death too. So
Right.
he lost control a while.
So see, my point is this. I just think that Kanye is fighting the cancel culture more than he's fighting a person who's coming with the heart attack shot. You know, like there are people that are really worrying about the CIA heart attack shots.
Like Gaddafi.
Yeah,
Kanye
I
West
think
is not one of them.
Kanye
Kanye West
West
is not one of them. I agree with you.
he claims he's not worrying about being canceled, but I think he's only fighting the cancel culture itself.
No. So we have to understand. So this effort for us to kind of like really free ourselves come from all different levels. So at Kanye's level, what he's trying to say, what he's trying to do, it's noticeable enough that he needs to put a squash to it. But here go the thing. The idea is, it's you don't become a billionaire without having your hand in the cookie jar. And everybody know each other. So the thing about it is, although as authentic as it may seem, I still look at that as a some type of grain of salt, because the truth is, when they really want to cancel somebody, they cancel. You don't hear them.
I agree. Yeah.
So the fact that we're here to notice all this back and forth and so on and so forth is just to get the public used to this idea of watch your tongue and watch what you say. It's getting you more in line and okay with the way China runs stuff. It's trying to usher you into it.
Yeah.
The American people, you can't bully them into it, but you can slowly work them into some nonsense. So it's a slow transition into making people say, "Oh, I can't say this," and they get somebody like who have such a big mouth. Oh, they shut him down. I better watch what I say. So it's this thing.
Oh, yeah, like Alex Jones.
Yeah, imagine.
Terrifying. I wouldn't even dare touch that stuff that he was involved in.
And that's the purpose of it. Because the thing about it is, they make sure they let you know he gets paid $1 billion because he said all these conspiratorial things. Including this. So they're trying to make sure they put that out in front of it, like, oh, this is one of those guys, that's why he's getting sued. So this
Are
is,
we worried that Kanye West could be taken out?
Well, Kanye. All right. So it's funny you mentioned Alex Jones. Kanye West doesn't have the potential atom bomb that Alex Jones does personally. In other words, Kanye West is still on networks. You can still find Kanye West mentioned. I think Alex Jones has a bigger atom bomb attached to him, or some. But I think that's more because Alex Jones has always been the image of he's always been the surrogate to conspiracy, or he's always been the main image of conspiracy when it comes to anything conspiratorial, and he just happened to. I almost think that he's not. I think Alex Jones. I think Kanye West is trying to make himself bigger. I think Kanye West is trying to become. Is trying to get into politics and trying to get into a position of power.
That seems obvious. It seems like Kanye West will be running for president in 2024.
Yeah.
And you can't depend on the black vote to get in. And are there... You see, I thought about this yesterday. I was thinking that if he's running for office, maybe he feels that the Jewish small hat community is hated enough where he'll be able to grab newer people than the ones he has.
That's a great point.
I was thinking that Kanye West knows that there's a group of people who you and me and we all know we can't even talk about on YouTube. We are terrified to talk about the small hats on YouTube. We are terrified to talk about them and even more so than the LGBT community, I believe. We'll talk more about the trans community than we will talk about the small hat community. And I think that he's trying to tap into the secret haters, the people that are hating the small hats on the low will now gravitate to him because at least Ye got the courage to say something.
Now, what demographic do you think hates the small hat? Or what group do you think has
No,
from
a lot of people, many people.
There's more conservatives or like liberals hate the small hats.
No, man, it's kind of amazing. I remember when I was coming up as a kid, there was I had my car. I needed something happened with my car, and some small hats came out, and they helped me, and they gave me a boost, and the boost wasn't working, so they was like, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna sit here for an hour and charge your whole battery, and see if it should get you home, which it did. And I remember telling some friends about that, and they were like, "Oh, those are the worst people." And I was like, "What? These people were really nice, and they helped me out." And they were like, "Oh, they're just horrible." And I was like, and it's like family and friends, Hispanics and blacks, said some pretty horrible things about this. I recently talked to this woman who was saying how that whole entire community doesn't deserve to even live in New York because they're not immunized. And it was speaking so horrible. I was like shocked that they felt this way. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you have such a strong opinion about a group of people that you're nowhere near? And I think that they're hated secretly by many people. I think there's a massive amount of hostility towards the small hats. And he's trying to tap into that because I don't see how I don't see his life being in jeopardy here. I don't see his life being in jeopardy. I think this is a ploy for running for office that he knows that. I think it was, how many people voted for him during the election? Do we all know? There was like a 50,000 or something. Do you remember how many people voted for Kanye West?
I don't think it was anything impressive at all.
Yeah,
I do know. I think Chance the Rapper campaigned for him or something.
Yeah, there was a lot going on with that, but I didn't vote for the guy. Anyway, I think this was a great episode. I got things to do. I got to run, and Ulric has things to do. Doc got things to do. We got together to try to come up with the part 2 that's been scrubbed off the internet, but we were able to put out some content for you, and we'll be back on Tuesday.
All right.
You are appreciated very much. Anybody want to close with anything? You got anything on your mind?
I have something to say. Yeah.
No. You know what? I was going to say a couple of things that you kind of mentioned earlier. I was going to tell y'all when we got off camera, but you initially mentioned that whole thing about the conspiracy, and I think it's a dirty word. And I'd implore us to stop using that word because you realize
I agree.
The idea with conspiracy was a term that was coined and made up.
The JFK.
So, right. And whenever you challenge the popular narrative with questions and things that really makes you ponder, okay, well, am I getting the correct information? They stamp this idea of conspiracy. Now come all the way up to Alex Jones, so tying him and everything else to conspiracy. So the minute you say something that doesn't go along with the typical information that's given, you're a conspirator. Right. And you're one of these conspiracy people and stuff like that. You're like
it invalidates everything
immediately. And now every time we try to define something that means something, they try to supplant it with something else. Right. Like we understand what woke mean, but now woke don't mean what we initially were supposed to be. And the understanding of
it's been co-opted by a t-shirt.
It's been co-opted by a t-shirt, and now woke mean you're like some type of super liberal or whatever like that. So it's the misdirection.
Vice, the channel Vice. It was a conservative channel started by Gavin McGinnis, and then it became a super liberal channel. Took it right under his So now that's how they do you.
And then we have this thing with the Alex Jones. He was as much as a threat as Kanye. His reach was a different demographic. So now a lot of other folks will be listening to Alex Jones, but that's the connection because we're all facing the same issue. We're all on the same team, but we have to recognize that. Kanye is at the level of trying to make folks recognize that, hey, listen, you need to be a team and recognize that you need to be part of a team. Like you as a group is not even a team. But it's like we all facing the same issue. And Alex Jones was a big piece of that because if he linked with somebody, so those are the real concerns that if people start talking, that whole because we know not a million people is not going to be following Kanye anywhere. Maybe. Right. I don't know. But, as far as his thinking, but him and Alex Jones, if their information aligns, then that's where you get that whole grassroots that's all over the place start talking about these things and taking them seriously.
It's so interesting that you're saying what you're saying, because I have a client who is a serious Trump supporter. I mean, to the point where if he talks about Trump, he starts to cry. I've told you about this, haven't I? Yeah. He cries. He's like, he's, and this is a tough man. This is not a little soft man. He cries talking about him. Just the other day, he says, "You heard about Kanye?" And I was like, "Yeah, what you mean? What you heard about him?" He said, "He's very intelligent, man. A lot of people want to hear what he has to say." So you're right. He is grabbing that other demographic, and not necessarily like, and my guy is not a Republican guy. He's not even a conservative. He's just a believer that everyone else is just lying to us and they're playing us, kind of a thing, So he's gravitating towards that. But you're right. You really, really are onto something with that. Kanye West is probably grabbing all the small hat haters and somehow grabbing not only the Trump supporters, but grabbing the ear. He's at least got the ear of people. Like, we can't dismiss Kanye West as being a loon.
No, at all.
We have to recognize that we can't get it. It ain't gonna happen like that. Anyway. Well, you are appreciated for tuning into this channel. Premium Black News, episode 7 in the books. We will be back on Tuesday. And you all know I love you.
So long.
Peace. Big Elvis the Chef.
The People's Doctor.
Boom. That was good.